I am now going to bring someone up to the podium who dared to be the Chief Executive Officer of the largest county in the United States of America. Give a round of applause for that. All right. A county of over 10 million residents with a workforce of over 108,000 employees. An enterprise with a budget of over $29 billion. I'm bringing up someone who dared to accept the challenge to go to the C-suite, to accept the challenge to manage the operations for the Board of Supervisors. A challenge to take the dare to be one of only 3 females who have ever served in this capacity within the history of the County of Los Angeles. And I am speaking of none other than our fearless leader, Sachi A. Hamai. In April 2014, Sachi was, hold on, I'm going to talk about you a little bit more. She hates when I get the mic. But you know what? When we have great leaders, we have to show that and show their contributions to others, right? So let us celebrate you just for a second, Sachi. In April 2014, Sachi was appointed as the interim CEO for the County of Los Angeles. And then after a regional search of lots of other folks, on October 13, 2015, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors unanimously appointed Sachi A. Hamai as the county's chief executive officer. She's responsible for managing the day-to-day operations for the nation's largest municipal government and implementing the board's policy and programmatic leadership on numerous health, social services, criminal justice, quality of life, and other programs for the 10 million residents we're privileged to serve. Before Sachi's selection as Chief Executive Officer, she served several years as Executive Officer of the Board of Supervisors, and that was from April 2006 to December 2014. You can read her actual bio in your folder, but I do want to point out that Sachi just didn't come here yesterday. She actually held several leadership positions within the County of Los Angeles in the departments of Auditor Controller and in the Department of Health Services, which is the largest department in the County of Los Angeles. Sachi is a passionate distance runner, completing her first marathon at St. George, Utah in 1997. She's participated in nearly 400 races. How many know you have to run this race, right? Nearly 400 races in the past 5 years, from 5Ks to stair climbs to marathons in Florida, Illinois, other parts of the United States. And I know she went to Tokyo for a marathon, and she just, over the last weekend, participated in Las Vegas in a half marathon. One thing that's not on the paper that I'd like to say about Sachi is that she's compassionate. She's giving of her own money, not of the county's money. She's giving. She's an innovator. She's a mentor. She's one that lifts others up. She believes in the rights of women. She is a supporter of others. I can say a whole bunch about Sachi, but I can say she's a tremendous leader, she's an innovator, and she's a transformational change agent. And without further ado, I am going to bring up our beloved Chief Executive Officer, Sachi Hamai. You want this or you want to hear this?
Well, thank you, Lisa. I want to just say this about Lisa. She is the champion of being our cheerleader for Los Angeles County, for women, for all of us. So a big round of applause for her. Whenever I say that I'm getting up to give a speech, I always say I have to have the Lisa enthusiasm to get up here, because she is, 24/7, very enthusiastic. So thank you again, Lisa, for that introduction. I want to thank all of you for coming out and participating in today's wonderful Women's Leadership Network. And I also want to thank Public Works, Mark Bistrella is here, and all the many county departments that are putting on this event today. A big shout out for all of them. I know that this is a disappointing time for many women who feel deeply discouraged by last week's presidential election. But today, I want to celebrate our achievements locally and to marshal our strengths for the challenges that lie ahead of us. Next month, with the inauguration of 2 new Board of Supervisors, 4 of the 5 members of the Board of Supervisors will be women. Big round of applause. This is unprecedented. And all of these women were selected not because of their gender, but because of their proven record of leadership. We are fortunate to work in a county that values diversity, recognizes that hard work, commitment, and talent don't have gender boundaries. It wasn't always that way. When the Hall of Administration was first built in 1960, there was 1 bathroom for the members of the Board of Supervisors. It was spacious and gleaming, and it was for men only. The first pioneering woman on the Board of Supervisors at that time did not have a restroom to go to. They had to actually construct 1 tiny stall and 1 sink. It was hardly bigger than a closet because it was constructed in a closet. It wasn't until last year that the restroom actually expanded to accommodate the rising number and the changing times of women. I have seen a lot of changes in my 28-year career with Los Angeles County. But every step of the way, I found the work incredibly rewarding because we're tackling issues that directly affect millions of people. There's a sense of mission and teamwork and a strong core of women leaders. Of the 3,500 executives in county government, more than 60% are female. Big round of applause for that. But I also recognize that barriers still exist, and there are still uphill battles that require stamina, fortitude, and teamwork. And that's why I love the theme of this year's conference, Dare to Be. And my statement is, dare to be brave. Leadership roles can be unrelenting with constant demands, competing agendas, and public scrutiny. In my job as CEO, I oversee a sprawling bureaucracy managing the county's almost $30 billion budget and navigating complicated political realities. You just have to be brave enough to trust yourself. Be a risk taker. Don't let opportunities pass you by because you don't think that you're good enough. I think as women, we sometimes tend to second-guess ourselves. I know that I'm guilty of that. I've had this idea that you have to be perfect. You have to know everything or you're not qualified for the job. But the truth is, sometimes you don't even know your own potential until you're tested and challenged. I certainly had to be brave at the young age of 22. I left my home of suburban Denver and came out to take my first job with the Los Angeles County Auditor Controller's Division. I knew very little about Los Angeles County. I had no friends and no family out here. My first assignment was in the jail ward of County LAC USC, and I was teamed up with an adrenaline junkie who loved to take me on tours of the emergency room and of the musty basement of LACUSC, which doubled as an overflow area for the county morgue. I was alone living in an apartment, a tiny apartment in Koreatown, which was burglarized shortly after I moved in. I was overwhelmed and I wanted to move home, but I promised my parents that I would try and stick it out. Those hard times taught me to value my own insights. Over the years, some of my best mentors and strongest supporters have been men, but at the same time, I was challenged by coworkers and subordinates that men seldom experience. I would go back to something my mother used to tell me: don't let others pull you off track, just stay focused. That's good advice for all of us today, when there's so much going on in this world that threatens to demoralize us and pull us off track. Our challenge now is not to be discouraged, to dare to dream, to know we could succeed, to be brave. I think that starts by building self-confidence. Know yourself, value your contributions, think about your talents and your needs. Accept that everyone may not like you, but don't let that drag you down. Do reach out, build bridges, build your network, establish good teammates and supporters, and also role models so you have individuals to draw upon. Focus on doing your best in every job, going beyond what's required. Don't limit yourself to be afraid to speak up when you know something is wrong. Those are the qualities that people respect and real leaders need. There are certainly trade-offs to be made as you advance in your own career. And I think women think of this in terms of sacrifice, which suggests that we're losing something. But if we shift the frame, we can see that the choices that we have are opportunities. I think that mindset is brave. I would have never imagined when I took the job in the auditor controller's office fresh out of college that I might one day be the CEO of the nation's largest county. I'm not here because I made one grand choice and rocketed to the top. My career has been long, sometimes rocky. There have been days when I feel like giving up, throwing in the towel, going home, but I wouldn't change a thing. I learned from every experience. After all, you don't shatter a glass ceiling by flinging one big rock. It takes stamina, sturdiness, the willingness to risk a stumble, and the courage to get back up. You'll leave here today with a lot of sage career advice, then head back into a world where your goals might sometimes seem out of reach. But don't be discouraged. Dare to be brave and believe there are no limits to what you can accomplish. Thank you.